listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Go for it, Jim. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous.
A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I'm your host, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi, and my co-host is my good friend Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Tucky.
What's going on, Kyle? We are kind of flying into this thing. We have not spent the last 2 weeks on this podcast. We have some catching up to do. Would have loved to done it before the show, but here we are. I'm pulling the TV over, getting the iPad going. A lot to talk about, a lot of headlines. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Screw it. We'll do it live, like always. It's good to see you once again, Tuck. As our listeners know, I had to take some time away the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, I was very sick. I hadn't been that sick in a while. I think a stomach bug got me, maybe the flu, who really knows. And then the following week, last week, I was in Denver for former special guest Aaron Oroz's bachelor party, which you guys briefly mentioned on last week's show. I really enjoyed last week. You and Ian, very efficient, 1 hour show talking about the Forbidden Door. That was good stuff, man.
In, out, on with life. You know, the fun part about a show like that show could have been 6 hours with all the matchups, all the stipulations, you know, so many different things to talk about. And yeah, we got in, out, under an hour. Life is good. And here we are. Feels good for the two of us to be back.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's weird for me to take 1 week off, let alone 2 weeks. I totally forgot I had that bachelor party going on, but it was a good ass time. My first time in Colorado, and I was specifically in Denver for the weekend. Man, you've been to Denver, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've been to Denver, Salt Lake City. I live next to a mountain range. It is a much different vibe.
Yes.
I think the mountains something about the mountains just make you slow down, you know?
There's a different energy out there. A different vibe is kind of what you were saying than being in Northwest Indiana. Cause I mean, I've spent my entire life here, but yeah, it was a good time celebrating Aaron. Been somewhat busy with wiffle ball work and all that good stuff. But I think the reason you were kind of late to getting into the stream was because you got some exciting news to share with the OTM universe. So why don't you share that information?
It's been an arduous journey. It's been a long process. It's been much longer than I thought it would be. But as of right now,
yes,
we have physical copies of my first children's book, Food Fights Pizza Party. You can see it says not for resale. These are proofing copies. Got to ship a couple of these off to New York. And then after that, after Nick, the illustrator, who has illustrated for WWE and AEW, subtle plug
kind of a big deal.
The swirly 70s FTR shirt, his design. Don't want to brag. Love the guy. Great guy. Already found a few things we've got to change about it, but the book itself is here. We've got images and artwork, and
that's awesome.
It is. It's so fun. Very exciting.
You got to be on cloud nine right now, man.
Yeah. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the work that Nick has done. He has been great. He's been holding my hand every step. I shoot his first book. S is for Suplex.
Okay.
So I got this book in a pro wrestling crate, and then I was like, I'm gonna write a kid's book. I took
inspired you.
And so I emailed him and said, hey, I wrote a kid's book. I'm looking for an illustrator. Can you give me tips on how? And he was like, do you want me to do it? And I was like,
oh my, that's awesome.
Okay. So we worked out the arrangement, shipping contracts from New York to Nevada. Everything's been done digitally. And so this is his first children's book. He does a lot of art. He's an art teacher in New York. He's a teacher as well. So it's a lot of fun. The book itself, what happens if VeggieTales meets WWE kind of thing, subtle themes for kids, like undeniable. You can't argue. Like the theme of the first book is like, although we're different, we can get along. Like
it's a formula that works. It's been done before, but in a different context this time.
And from where we originally started with the concept to where we got, the whole series was going to be focused on the P's. And we zoomed out and said, if we make it a universe, dude, we're bookers now. We're bookers of the Foodie Wrestling Federation.
It's my GM mode.
I'm head of creative. We've got face turns coming up in the series. Books 2 and 3 are already written. So focusing on different characters, different themes each book. Hopefully, if it doesn't turn into anything, but I make my money back, I'll be happy. There has been quite a sizable investment in this process, as there would be in any venture. But it's been satisfying and fulfilling. Something I can show the kids in the classroom and say, hey, you can create too, and you can give, and if you're passionate about something, just go find it. And so
that's a good message for anybody out there that listens to us, man. Find your passion, stick to it, and keep at it. I mean, we do it here every single week with OTM. We are very passionate about wrestling. We were two podcasters on different podcasts that ultimately decided to come together for this wrestling podcast. And after all those podcasts that we've done previously, this is the one that has stuck with us over the past 4 years, right? 4 years?
For both of us. And I will say that we do get a little press here in the back on the Mark Wrestling Podcast is mentioned.
Yeah, there it is.
Co-hosting the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. So we are now a published podcast, or pre-publishing, but
we will add it to the resume. We are not shy to add things to our resume, and that is exciting for you, Tuck. Exciting for anybody else, because we obviously will share the information once it is available for purchase. And please reach out and support Tucky. This is going to be an awesome book, and I can't wait to check it out myself. But we've done enough chit-chatting. Let's go to our chat. We got a lot of people live in the house tonight here for episode 149. Robbie Collins coming straight out the gate with Jungle Hook. Big fan. Tuck's going to join in on that. Kine, hello. How you doing, Kine? He says CM Punk reeks.
Wow.
Hey.
Kine coming in hot.
Yes, he is. And he asks, what's your favorite type of cheese? And hey, this is going to disappoint you. I do not like cheese. So I have to say mozzarella just because it's the only cheese I eat. Tuck?
Yeah. You kind of only fare with some of the pizza cheese, right? That's
correct.
One of your
That's
staples.
It.
I'm a provolone. I like salty cheeses. We used to sell a brick cheese called brick cheese at Strachan Van Til's, and very salty cheese, but didn't know that I was going to answer that today.
Hey, we appreciate it. We will answer anything in the chat. Well, not everything, but most things. And that was a very PG question right there. So we had to pull it up. Dirk Vogus, of course, in the house, like always. He says, welcome back. I missed you.
Love to see it.
I missed you. Appreciate you tuning in live once again. And Kine said this is his second ever live stream watching us. So Kine, appreciate you checking us out live. We are live every night at 7 p.m. Central. We're going to talk some wrestling, of course, but before we do, don't forget to check out the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com. We have some fantastic merch available for the summertime. Look, no promo code this week, but there's a lot of PLEs and pay-per-views coming up. So if you want to save a little extra money, maybe wait. But if you want to support us in full this weekend, it would be greatly appreciated because all the funds that we receive from our merchandise site go to the show. It is going to you. So what you give is given back to yourself. So check out the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com. And also, I got to get this little plug out there, Tucky. I'm trying to sell 2 tickets to next week's AEW Dynamite. So if you or anybody you know that lives in the Chicago area wants to go to AEW Dynamite, never been before, or just looking to go to maybe catch CM Punk, who knows? Don't know for sure yet. You just got to reach out to me. Too Sweet Kyle. You see the social media down there. You can follow me on Twitter. Slide in my DMs. I will give it to you for half off. I paid $120 for 2 tickets. you can get it for $60. All you got to do is
buy
that's a
one
deal.
seat, buy a seat, get a seat free. No
Look at
promo code on the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Take those savings right there on the Mark Wrestling Podcast. You're gonna love it. Fair seats. Where is it at? Sears Center?
Yeah, no, Wintrust Arena. Wintrust Arena. It's in section 207. So
that is okay.
But there's not a bad seat in the house.
No, it's a good. That's where DePaul plays, right? That's the one that's
Right.
kind of downtown. The hotel we stayed at for the marathon, right next door to it. Love that little area. Head up there.
Nice
Go to
area.
Pisano's prior.
Good
Pisano's
spot.
right across the street. You'll probably find a guy to too sweet you until you leave.
That guy was something. We've had some, we both have separately as well, some interesting wrestling fan encounters. I know at Forbidden Door 2 years ago when I was with Marini, there was some weirdos over there. But hey, that's wrestling fans in a nutshell. But hey, we're 11 minutes.
That's the community. That is us.
Yeah.
You go to a wrestling show, you'll see a dude with $5,000 drip on, and then you'll see a dude wearing sweatpants, seeing half his ass crack, holes in his Dusty Rhodes 1987 t-shirt, and he's got 4 belts. Like just walking with 4 belts and a pair of Crocs on. Those are our people. All of the people are our people.
And you can smell different kinds of fans as well, because it seems like half of wrestling fans choose not to use deodorant, but here at OTM,
it's a wild
choose.
strategy.
Ain't it?
It at some point it is a choice. That is a decision.
True.
And we have made trips back to the Airbnb to deodorize,
Freshen up,
because we respect it. And if everybody else would just extend that same level of respect to their body, to themselves first, and the rest of us.
Be like OTM. That's the message we're trying to send here.
Thanks.
But we're going to hop around today, Tucky, the pro wrestling world, and touch on some of the bigger stuff happening, because next week we're going to have a Forbidden Door preview show, followed by the Money in the Bank preview show in 2 weeks. So we got some big ones, so we might as well just touch on the big things happening right now in professional wrestling. And one of the biggest things that happened this past Friday is Charlotte Flair's return on Friday Night SmackDown. While being presented her brand new women's title, Asuka was confronted by the queen herself, Charlotte Flair. And you know what basically, Tuck, she said she doesn't wait in lines. She is the line. That makes enough sense to me. I don't know about you.
No, pretty strong argument. Hi, I'm Charlotte Flair. I would like a title shot. Yep. And I could see Bianca's gripe too. So that here there are some layers and some playability to it. It's not just who's next and why. You've got the Charlotte Bianca thing you could do, triple threat. There's a lot of different ways this thing could go. And then you have another viable contender in the women's division on SmackDown.
Yep.
Yay.
Yeah, the more the merrier at the top of the card, more challengers for Asuka. And it kind of sounds like you answered this question in a way, but I was going to ask you, with that statement that Charlotte made, how do you feel about her returning and just being shot put right into the main title scene? Do you think she should earn her way up, or is it Charlotte Flair? She can get what she wants.
I think both of those are credible arguments. Put her through the gauntlet and say, okay, like you can have a title. AEW's done it, right? And this could be okay. When Adam Pearce says, I would love for you to challenge Asuka, but in order for you to do it, you've got to win. You got to win 3 SmackDowns in a row. And then doesn't that help the ratings too? So I would almost from a production business numbers standpoint, almost put Charlotte Flair on the chase a little bit, put some of those young NXT call-ups against Charlotte Flair. And there was a lot of win-wins, but when you are Charlotte Flair, when you literally are the queen, I get it. I don't think you could say the same for like Ronda Rousey shows up. You're like, she's got a no. But and that would be the Vince thing. Put someone like Ronda right up our ass.
Yeah,
and then we've got to deal with it. But I just think Charlotte Flair has the credibility as a face or a heel, and her ability on the mic. And Asuka needs someone to carry the promos. You know,
correct.
You're gonna inevitably get to a banger, but Asuka needs someone to carry that.
And we know Asuka and Charlotte have chemistry. Their match they had at WrestleMania years ago was fantastic. They've had other matches that were very good as well. But I think you know where I stand on this. Charlotte Flair is my GOAT. I think she's the greatest female wrestler of all time. I don't believe that she needs to be in line. To me, she's in the same, conversation as a John Cena. When John Cena returns, you saw what happened when he returned at Money in the Bank in 2021. He confronted Roman Reigns. He's like, all right, I'm here. Let's go. That's Charlotte Flair to me. John Cena level, 16-time world champion. Why does she have to face Shotzi, Raquel, all these people that really haven't accomplished much on the main roster just to get to Asuka? I see a lot of people complaining, but at the end of the day, we're talking about Charlotte Flair.
If you chose that path, that does delay the build between Charlotte and Asuka pre-match too, if you were going to run it at Money in the Bank. So I just think it's smart. Now we've got a couple weeks to make it matter. I think Asuka's going to have a lot of favors. So is Charlotte going to run heel? Like, there's some decisions to make. And
heel Charlotte's better.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to root for Charlotte Flair, even though you can still respect her, talent in ring and on the promo. But it's interesting too, because you talked about Bianca Belair already being involved in a feud with Asuka. We have a title match already set up for Charlotte. Charlotte will face Asuka the Friday before Money in the Bank in London. So not only is Asuka probably, I would assume, going to get that match against Bianca Belair, she's having a match on SmackDown the day before Money in the Bank. So is there any way this kind of gets turned into a triple threat? Because that's something I would be interested in.
Yeah, again, could be backdoor booking where they're giving themselves an escape route as they're trying to keep their thumb on the pulse on who's the hottest of the three if they wanted to make it a singles. I feel like Bianca, Asuka, Charlotte should be a triple threat at SummerSlam, selfishly.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they are building to. That makes a lot more sense. We saw a triple threat at Hell in a Cell last year, didn't we? Asuka was involved in it. Do you remember who else was in there? Or was it just a singles match between Asuka and Bianca? Because I remember that being an awesome match as well. But I know Asuka,
look it up
Bianca,
to be clear.
Yeah, Asuka and Bianca have history. I believe those two were definitely in that match, but something's telling me that there was a triple threat of sorts when we were there. And that happened, 2022, I believe, is when we were at Hell in a Cell. Yeah, because that was the pay-per-view where Cody tore his pec. So, yeah, I think there's definitely history there. And if you got a triple threat at SummerSlam, I don't think anybody would be disappointed.
It was Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Becky Lynch.
A Becky. Okay. So you're swapping Charlotte for Becky. Goat for goat. What can go wrong?
People forget that Kevin Owens was in a match at Hell in a Cell. Do you remember his opponent, Hell in a Cell?
In 2022?
2022, yeah.
It was in the cell.
Nope.
Oh, okay. So it's just a regular match.
The only cell match we got was Rollins and Cody.
That's true. You're right.
Mm-hmm. And the triple threat. The triple threat.
You're making it seem like it's some random person. So I'm just going to guess Jinder Mahal.
It's so random. Ezekiel.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
Ezekiel.
Yeah.
He did have that stint for 6 months? Fun fact, though, that was the only theme I didn't know, because Ian, on our way home from Indy one day, he pulled up all these wrestling themes, and I was like, I will get every single wrestling theme you throw my way. He popped on Ezekiel. First off, didn't even know Ezekiel had a theme. I was wrong.
Yeah, it's I'm glad Elias is back.
Yeah, very forgettable. Let's go to the chat, though, real quick before we move on. Kind says Charlotte sucks. Bianca is better. I'm going to respectfully disagree. I'm going to respectfully disagree. I'm not going to go all heel on him. I don't want to ruin his night.
In defense of Charlotte, can we not remember Charlotte versus Rhea at WrestleMania?
Was the greatest women's match in the history of
the
WrestleMania.
Last time we saw Charlotte, again, you wanted Rhea to win. It was time. But if you want Charlotte to lose every time, sure. Cool.
That's fair.
But she's in heaters, dude.
Always. Banger after banger.
And she gets an emotion out of you. Bianca went stale for me.
Yeah. I think she's been stale for a lot of people.
I'm Bianca super fan. You know this. I have two signed Bianca figures.
Tucky is one of the biggest Bianca marks I know. Just it's like me with Charlotte. It's the same level of fandom right there. Bianca needs a rematch, triple threat at Money in the Bank, and Bianca wins. That's what Kine is saying. Robbie says, will be a cracking match, some would say.
Ooh, Shout out to Robbie Collins. I was watching a YouTube video and the guy kept saying crack on. Like the next thing I'm going to crack on with this. And then after, when I'm done with that, I'm going to crack on with that. Keep on cracking. Well, they call him Crack On Collins.
Oh, I like that. Crack On Collins. It's got a ring to it. Ryan Bogus was wrong. He guessed Roman when you asked who Kevin Owens faced, and he goes, I was wrong. Hi, folks. Hello, Ryan Bogus. Good to see you. And hello to my wonderful mother. What? Oh, yeah, for Hell in a Cell. Yeah, that's true. Hello, Donna. My mother is in the chat. We are having a big birthday party this Saturday, Tucky, for my mom's 60th and my 30th. It's going to be cracking.
Did you just say 60th?
I mean 50th. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to put my mom on blast.
I was about to say, you're getting your 4s and your 6s mixed up, brother. The math doesn't add up for the 40. That's why I was pretty sure about the 60. Gosh, darn it. Wears it well. Come on.
She's a great lady. I tell you what.
The matriarch of the family, freaking 10 out of 10. Wow.
And then congrats to your 30s.
Yeah, you are entering midlife. I may predict a crisis 2 to 3 years down the road. We all have them. You know,
that already happened.
Sometimes your midlife crisis is a day. Sometimes it's a school year. You know,
sometimes you leave Northwest Indiana and you move to Nevada. You never know what's going to happen, right? Let's move on. Speaking of titles, let's talk about them. There is many new titles in WWE that have been introduced to the universe over the past couple weeks. Seth obviously being the first one at Night of Champions when he, why am I blanking on? Defeated AJ Styles. There we go for that World Heavyweight title. Then Asuka got hers, and Rhea received the white version of Seth Rollins' title. First off, what are your thoughts on the new design? Is it lazy in your opinion to kind of just do the same color scheme, or does it get the job done?
I don't think it's lazy from a design standpoint because it makes the women's titles equal, right? Like same power, same value. It is discernible. You got the heavyweight champion, and then you got the Universal champion. And then we had the Raw and SmackDown women's champion, and it just meant they were the best on their brand. Where like Seth, again, it is a Raw adjacent title, but he can go to SmackDown and defend that, right? He can fight a dude from SmackDown for the heavyweight title, and that's doesn't seem to cross party lines. Right. I do have one critique with the heavyweight title itself, men's and women's, where it says World Heavyweight Championship. It's just a debossed print. The same like color plate. I wish they would have outlined the letters in black just to make that punch a little bit more. Personal opinion, but I love them. It's like the World Heavyweight title's a modern take on tradition.
Yeah,
it's not a separate thing. It doesn't look like a gimmick. I would not have guessed that design given how prominent the W in the actual logo is on this title, but I'm glad they did it.
Me too. Robbie asked, did Triple H not say it was a Raw exclusive title? I don't know if he has said it on record. That's a good question, Robbie. If anybody else in the chat can figure that out, it would be greatly appreciated. My mom can confirm. She said, I was 20 when I had you, Kyle James. Come on over, Tuck. Tuck, she wants you to make the trip. Come on, fly on in.
When is that?
This Saturday.
Okay, I have a half marathon in the morning to run. But other than that, I think, I'll run the half. Saturday, I'm hoping to post a sexy boy picture on Twitter with my Yes Boy t-shirt.
Yes.
We're crossing fingers. I've never ran this half marathon hard, and it's at elevation. My PR is from Chicago, so I'm gonna have to hustle 4,000 feet.
Home air right there.
Let's see what we got. As Reigns was drafted to SmackDown, the World Heavyweight Championship became exclusive to Raw.
Yeah, and Kind's confirming in the chat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said when he announced it is exclusive to Raw. So yeah, what's your favorite title though out of all those new ones?
Roman's black title with the gold plate, like the gold backing.
I didn't expect that answer from you.
I just think it's sexy, but I love from a branding. Like I'm a branding logo showy guy,
business guy.
That's it's what's best for business. And this is kind of just resonates with me a little bit more. I like the subtle touch, gold, king, head of the table, and anybody that wins that title will have it. It is a little murky with the Asuka title because the Asuka's women's title says undisputed on it, but they don't say it. She's the WWE Universal Champion, but it says undisputed on her title too. It's weird.
Yeah, Kine agrees with you that Roman is his favorite as well. Looks beautiful in his opinion. A total fit for the tribal chief. Yeah, it definitely fits him. Robbie Collins is still a big fan of the U.S. title that Austin Theory is holding.
Don't tell his compatriots overseas. They're gonna think he's a martyr.
You backstabbing son of a bitch, Robbie.
He's proud of it. He's proud of his take in the comment section. We will not be held liable. I think that's just the fair thing to say.
Way to get it on the record. I appreciate that there, Tuck. I guess what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. Tino's time.
He's in the building. What's up, Tino?
Tina says, what's up, guys? And even Robbie Collins has to join in. The former MVM, Tino, is in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Hopefully you're able to take those AEW tickets off my hands so I can give my parents a relief of their other son, Ryan, and they can enjoy their anniversary dinner because it is happening the exact same day. So that's why I am trying to sell. Yeah, there's a reason behind it. It's not like I don't want to go. It's just,
Gaz, it sounds like you have a heart,
Family first, man. You know that. I always put family first. Robbie Collins said it's a good title, but Scotland forever. There it is. And speaking of Scotland, Drew McIntyre is apparently supposed to return soon. Did you see those rumors?
No, haven't seen him, but I did watch him on Most Wanted Treasures help find some Roddy Piper memorabilia. Piper.
You enjoy that show? I don't think I've checked it out yet.
Miss and I we watch every episode. It's like American Pickers, but WWE. So she gets the hunt and the chase of the things, learns about the stories in these unique items. And yeah, goddamn, WWE is cheap. Like some of these items are so valuable. An iconic Roddy Piper leather jacket, right? Mm-hmm. And Mick Foley is the one trying to make the deal. He's like, I'll give you $3,500 for that. And it's WWE. And again, is it worth $5 more? But they're not. They've turned down deals because of money. Like, no, you want too much money for it. It's like you're the WWE.
I think I have seen an episode because I remember them going to somewhere in Hobart, which is 15 minutes away from where I live. So
you need to Google that dude and see if he'll let you do an OTM video there.
Gotta add to the collection over here too, maybe. Which another random thing. Remember the Crown Point Toys and Collectibles vlog we did?
Yeah.
They are upgrading. They're moving to a bigger location. So obviously business is going well for them. So I might have to stop in and get some more loosies.
I'll be back in July. Maybe we actually sketch something, an outline on a napkin and not just
maybe we talk to them. Maybe we get their permission to do some professional interviews there. Maybe keep an eye out. I know it's not like the vlog at Warrior Wrestling that Ian falsely promised everyone. We apologize for that, but
Fraudavalia.
There it is. The part-timer is not here tonight, obviously. Tino says he will let me know by Saturday. Appreciate that. He also said that show is very good. Robbie Collins with a hot take from the top rope. He says Drew McIntyre sucks. Alba and Isla are the best Scottish wrestlers, and then Piper Niven and Nikki Cross follow.
Insert a cricket sound. We'll just be quiet for a second. The crickets. That's it.
And Tino's in. He said that would be really cool. So yeah, next time you come visit, you said November, right?
July.
I thought you said November.
I'm going to summer. You're probably, if we're taking one car, somebody's driving my ass to Detroit.
Oh yeah, I'm going Thursday night. Are you going Thursday night?
I thought that was the plan.
Okay, then you're driving with me.
Tuesday.
I can't do that. You come Tuesday? Is that what you just said?
Last Tuesday of the school year was just 2 days ago. Kids were sad,
Were they happy on come Tuesday?
Still asking about it.
He's asking, he says, I know it's off topic, but who's your favorite tag team on the main roster right now? For him, it's Pretty Deadly. Love them on NXT and love them now. It's them and the Street Profits as his main two. Tuck, is this your burner?
I don't know who Kine is, but he is very on brand. He's got to be the top contender for MVM, in my opinion. What a guy. Yes, Pretty Deadly. The story for me, I bought a Yes Boy shirt the day you could, and I will not wear it until I PR in a race. I've got a race coming up on Saturday. I was hoping to PR at the last marathon, and that was just an absolute fucking disaster. But I've got a Yes Boy shirt. I'm hoping to post a picture on Twitter with my Yes Boy shirt on Saturday. If I PR by a second, I get to wear it. Love Pretty Deadly.
Yeah, I love Pretty Deadly as well. They're not my favorite. Let's see if you know your co-host. Who's my favorite tag team?
Of all time?
No, currently. It's the same answer, though. It is all time.
The Usos?
Correct. I got to acknowledge the ones. The Usos are the best tag team of all time. That's just my opinion. And Robbie Collins said, fun fact, Kine has watched one other OTM live show, and he did win the MVM in that show. So he's trying to bat 1,000 here, Tucky.
Yeah, respect it. Respect.
And then we got some banter going back and forth for the MVM. Tino said, I may be late, but I'm taking my title back. Wow.
Things you love to see. Let's just keep it clean in the chats, boys. You know, nothing below the belt, right? Clean, sanctioned. We don't have a lot of staff on the outside patrolling the ring, etc. We do have rough. And we respect a good chair shot, but we understand. We'll make it let's see, like no DQ.
False count anywhere.
False count anywhere. Yeah, but you understand on sport. You guys are all faces, so
yeah. Keep it clean. Like Tino said, PG only. PG only. Keep it PG in the chat. That's for damn sure. We're a PG show. Not really. We're not really a PG show. When they ask us when I upload every episode to YouTube, is this kid friendly? You know what I say? No.
Not today.
If you're under 18, you probably shouldn't be watching OTM. But let's move on. I want to talk about Seth freaking Rollins because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to be doing with that World Heavyweight title and be a workhorse champion for the fans that they can be very proud of. And here's what's coming up for Seth Rollins, Tucky. He's got his open challenge in Cleveland next Monday on Monday Night Raw. He is main eventing against Braun Breaker on Tuesday on NXT next week, and just made official this week, Finn Balor at Money in the Bank. Things you love to see, right?
Yes. Who accepts the open challenge?
It's in Cleveland, so you see him behind me. I think it's Johnny Wrestling. Maybe I'm just being optimistic as a huge Johnny mark.
I have a different opinion.
Let's hear it.
Logan Paul.
Ooh.
Ohio guy, right?
Yeah.
Ohio dude. They announced him for Raw, didn't they?
They did. Oh, connecting the dots a little bit, I see. Yeah. Interesting. I'd like to hear what the chat thinks.
I think he shows up early, does a promo or something, and I think he accepts the open challenge right off the jump of the show. They've got a 3-hour build to get to it, too. 3 hours for people to do. Logan Paul's on Raw, shit.
And he's main eventing for the World Heavyweight title. Like, that's going to get people to tune in, right? And Paul can put it on his socials. He can just say, yo, I'm main eventing Monday Night Raw. And everybody's like, oh, I got to tune in. I like it. But I'm going with Ciampa or Gargano, specifically Gargano. It looks like the chat is already hitting people with chairs and everything. I'm with Tino, though. He said Braun versus Seth is going to be lit. Surprisingly, out of those three matchups, I think that's the one I'm most excited for just because it's happening in NXT.
Yeah, what says a lot about Seth, you know what I mean? Yeah, I will go down to NXT. And if Seth goes, like, Ridge Holland won't, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
if you have a guy like Seth going down there to get the brand over, everybody should be, and I love it.
Yeah, it's where he started. He was the very first NXT champion, and now he's facing off against a former 2-time NXT champion. And whoever that open challenge is, I'm sure it's going to be a good match. And of course, him versus Finn at Money in the Bank will be fantastic. You saw Kyne's comment there. He thinks Seth versus Braun is going to be insane. Tino thinks Ciampa might be showing up. Robbie Collins, he said, I like that, Tuck. He likes where your head's at there with Logan Paul. And like Kyne said, Seth is really going to have 3 10 out of 10 matches in a row. Like, you saw his match against Omos.
Yeah,
you can't have a bad match.
Right.
Tino asked, do you guys think he is added to Money in the Bank? I'm assuming he's talking about Logan Paul. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's what he's pointed to. Maybe I thought they had their 6. Somebody
they can always make it 7.
They got room to take dudes out too. That's not the tallest Money in the Bank I've ever seen. Right now, it's like a 1-horse race with LA Knight, right?
No, which I wanted to talk about that Money in the Bank field. Okay. We'll talk about it here because after intermission, I wanted to touch on it. But let's pull up some of these other comments. It's funny you brought that up though, because I definitely wanted to touch on that. Kyne said, I think Logan's going to be in Money in the Bank, but I don't think he'll win. Yeah, if he's in it, I don't think he will win either. Like Tino said, it's must-watch TV with Rollins going on NXT. Tuck is going to be the open challenge. Robbie Collins says, Tuck, you ready for that? I don't think you are.
When is it?
Monday in Cleveland. Fuck him.
I can make it. I'm out of school. I'll be there.
Yeah, that is true. It is summer for Tucky. And like Tino said, they did add Theory last year for no reason at the end. I think the reason was just that Vince McMahon had a crush on Austin Theory.
Unhealthy. He didn't he try to give Theory the egg? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was. I know it played into what they were promoting, a movie of sorts, but it just wasn't good. But speaking of Finn Balor, how about that promo on Monday? He couldn't get a word in. The crowd just kept singing his song. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, very strong. Love to see it. Well, and that is one of my biggest arguments when people want to talk about wrestling. You go to wrestling, right? I'm like, yeah, it's the only form of like entertainment, right? That is given to you, the only product given to you where you literally have influence and sway, right?
It's an interactive show.
I can be a reason why someone gets over or doesn't get over. I have an active voice. Can it be a little toxic on Twitter? Yeah, but a live show, right? Like we're our group, we go to work. You know what I mean? We're celebrating what we love. We are yelling about what we hate, and we're drinking $17 mango carts in between. Life is good.
That it was. I can't wait for a little taste of that in Detroit for SummerSlam weekend. That's going to be a good time. Tino says that segment was awesome. Brought me back to the first time they were face to face. A lot of people were annoyed with the crowd, but I think that's just a testament of how over Seth Rollins is right now. It's just unfortunate for Finn because I thought Finn really cut a good promo. You just couldn't really hear most of it. Robbie said it won't happen, but give me Rollins versus Solo Sikoa. It's a match I'd like to see. I don't think it will happen anytime soon, but yeah, I could definitely see it happening down the road, Tuck.
Yep.
Kyne said, I've not been to a wrestling event since 2016, and it was a WWE Live, and he saw AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose for the WWE title. It's not a bad match to see, though, when you're live in attendance.
No, house show? Come on, give me that. I'm waiting for him to come back to Reno. It probably won't be for like another couple of years. They had a house show here last August, and that'll probably be it for a while.
Yeah, not a great crowd.
No, it was fine, but like Reno's not easy to get to in and out. It's kind of a clusterfuck. So,
yeah, I get it. They only go to areas where they know they can navigate around the city very well. But going back to NXT though for a little bit, I just want to say the last couple months have been really good. I think NXT deserves a little bit more love. There was a period where it was really TV I didn't need to be watching, but I watched it anyways. But one big positive that comes out of that draft is the free agency aspect, because you're having these main roster people come down, kind of rejuvenate the brand after all these other people get called up. And then in 2 weeks, so we go from Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins main eventing, and then Baron Corbin versus Carmelo Hayes the week after that for the NXT title. I see it as an absolute win.
Well, and like, you kind of care about Baron Corbin a little bit. Let's see what he's up to, right? and that has been something that has been a negative mark against him. I love him in the ring, but like, be somebody, right? You're a big dude. So he's tried different things, and this is something where like I'm tuning into NXT the next 2 weeks, right? And I haven't made it a priority, right? If it's on, it's on, but I'm not going out of my way. Like Monday's a schedule, Wednesday as much as I can, Friday schedule, Tuesdays if it happens. Next Tuesday it will happen. I'll be there.
I was gonna say, I think next Tuesday became must-see live television, and I would say that even Corbin and Hayes is must-see. I like how they incorporated that storyline on SmackDown on Friday. Did you notice that when Carmelo and Trick Williams were there?
Yep, everybody's eating, and it's starting to get to that point where like Black and Gold NXT. Remember how they really elevated that brand during the Survivor Series weekend and made it something kind of in fight with AEW, it felt like. And then they decided to kind of like just wipe out everything, and we're in that buildup. We're starting to see they're making NXT stars known. People have known them in the buildings. They're not as quiet as they used to be, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, when NXT is clicking on all cylinders, I mean, a couple of years ago is one of the best, if not the best brand going. We literally spent time on this podcast comparing just NXT to Dynamite, and NXT was winning more than losing. That just shows you how good the Black and Gold brand really was. Let me pull up Tino's comment before we head to intermission. He says, I really like Corbin. I think if put in the right spot, he could get over like he was as the lone wolf. I think that's a fair statement there from Tino. And he said it also gives Melo to be seen in front of the main roster card. Once Melo is up, people will love him. Yeah, I don't disagree with you there either, Tino. Robbie Collins said, I was arguing with a naughty word guy on Twitter as he was saying WWE were sending down small superstars, in quotations, to NXT to try to promote it. And I couldn't believe it. Yeah. He's
not calling Seth Rollins a small superstar.
No, I just the guy that was on Twitter, I think was
this naughty word guy.
Yeah, I don't think he was talking about him. I think he was probably alluding to.
They actually saw his tweet. Yeah, WWE saw his tweet, and they're like, "Okay, fella, all right, how about Seth Rollins?"
Yeah, how about Baron Corbin? That one's not as exciting, but Seth Rollins definitely is. And Kine agrees with me. He said NXT right now is so good. But we got a few more things to talk about. But before we do, we got to hear what the listeners are saying about the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
What's everybody saying about the On the Mark Podcast?
It's just insane, and I love it.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
Unlike any other.
It's a great show.
We'll be right back after a brief intermission.
Yeah, and the chat is confirming, probably talking about Corbin and Ali. Yeah, we ended up figuring it out, guys, but I appreciate the assist. Let's move on, though. We talked about Money in the Bank a little bit earlier. One of the matches happening, official now, Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. This is a matchup I don't think many of us would have seen coming once Cody jumped back into WWE. Some thought Cody Rhodes could be in the Money in the Bank match. Some assumed he'd be facing Brock Lesnar for their trilogy, but no, Cody versus Dominic is now official after Dom has gone 2 straight weeks slapping Cody in the face and running away like the chicken shit heel that he is. I'm actually okay with this match. I don't know how you feel about it because, Cody, main event of WrestleMania, obviously, has a feud with Brock Lesnar. Now he's going against Dominic Mysterio. How do you feel about it?
It feels like it kind of came out of nowhere. What happened with the Brock stuff? Like, what is the ultimate plan? How does that factor? Like, I don't know. Does he make it into Money in the Bank? Like, how is Cody going to get to Roman on SmackDown if the brand split matters?
I think the only way now is winning the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
And he already did that. It literally just happened.
I know. It's kind of boring, isn't it?
I'm sure they'll figure out a way to get there. And who knows? Maybe the story doesn't finish with Cody dethroning Roman. Maybe it's Solo. Maybe it's Jay. Maybe it's Jimmy. We still really don't know. But I think it's going to be a good match just because of how over both these guys are. You literally have probably your biggest babyface going up against arguably your biggest heel. At least he's getting the biggest heat every time he goes out there. I think it's just a way to pause the feud with Brock Lesnar. I think eventually we're going to get that trilogy at SummerSlam. I think that's when Brock's going to show up again. And then Dominic, he's probably going to be Dominic. Cody Rhodes is. But, yeah, I think it'll be a good match, but it doesn't look like our chat agrees. Robbie Collins said, boo, the story. I hope Dom wins. And Kine agrees.
He doesn't.
We need Dom to win, in my opinion. Maybe Rhea helps, but we want a Dom. First off, Kine, we don't want a Dom win. I don't need a Dom win. That's not good for Cody. You're telling me Cody Rhodes, who just main evented against one of the longest reigning champions in WWE history, is going to go back to Money in the Bank, face Dominic Mysterio, who hasn't won fucking shit, and lose? Huh? I'm done. Come on. What are we doing here?
Ladies and gentlemen, Heel Liarda in the house.
Robbie, shut up. We don't need a Dom win. You know what you need to do is go night-night, Robbie, because it's past your bedtime. I'm done with these people. Done with them.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the On the Mark Wrestling podcast. Just want to get like a little bit. Yeah, just a breathing room. Maybe we all do some deep inhale, hold it for a second, let it out. Yeah.
I've been gone for a couple weeks, Doc. I had to cut one program.
But your reaction, very strong to this match, right? That's the allure of the Cody and Dom program here. It is polarizing both ways.
Yep. And Tino knows. Heel Kyle in full effect. He comes out every once in a while. You just gotta poke the bear a little bit to find out. But
no,
going on with
like one poke. That's it.
One comment, right? It only takes one.
Right.
All right, Robbie, I'm kicking you out of the Discord. He said no inhales, Dom wins. You just made the list, Robbie. I don't know what to say.
You just made the list.
I wanted to deliver it like that, but I'm out of energy now. Kine said the real story is Dom and Rhea. That's a fair point. They got a nice dynamic going on TV. But you talked about the field earlier. Speaking of Money in the Bank, let's discuss that field, specifically the men's side of things. We've seen a few people on social media complaining about the field, that there are no former WWE world champions. But last time I checked, that was the original purpose of Money in the Bank, to elevate up-and-coming talent and get them a shot into the main title. Are you against this field? Do you feel like there needs to be more star power? Or are you in agreement with me? This is the original intention of the Money in the Bank match.
So I have a couple points. I do think this was the original intention. And remember, King of the Ring used to do that, right? So with that lens, like Money in the Bank is a separate thing, right? It doesn't have the majesty of the Royal Rumble, but it's an opportunity. So I think you got to do one or of two things. You have to load it to the gills, all former champions. But do you have that, like, you can throw on a banger? Like, it's got to be absolute heat.
Which we've seen them do star-studded Money in the Banks like that before.
Or, again, they're in a brand kind of refresh right now, restacking the deck from chips. I don't feel like it's I think it's pretty straightforward with two candidates. I think I
was going to ask you for your top three. So if you can give me a top three, I'd like to hear it.
I would go with LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Ricochet.
The third one interests me. Is there a reason behind Ricochet?
I just feel like he's been given a lot of TV time. He's a guy that the speedy in and out Money in the Bank kind of thing would get him the title, but it would get him off. It would get the title off him real quick. Or he's the plucky guy you want to work. If he's trying to cash in on Roman, he's got to go up against the Bloodline and some of that. Where, like, if you want a failed cash in, I like Shinsuke because it feels like they're giving him more TV time too, but he doesn't feel like a Money in the Bank guy. to me.
I get that point. I was thinking the same thing with Shinsuke. I totally forgot what I was going to say about this match, but I'll give you my top three guys. I think Damian Priest might be the favorite just because of how he's been presented, and there's a little tension in the Judgment Day. So adding a briefcase to Damian Priest will kind of divide that a little bit more. And you still got Finn, who's kind of in the world title scene right now. So that'd be a nice little dynamic back and forth. LA Knight, I mean, I think he's going to be in everybody's top two. I think he has to be just by the crowd reactions he's getting. It just gets to a point with these guys, though. You look at the field. What if they're not cashing in on Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins? What if they cash in on Gunther and his reign? Because nobody can beat him one-on-one. That's what I want to see. And I think a guy that could do that would be an LA Knight. Would you be okay with that?
And a convenient way to elevate Gunther to the main titles.
Exactly. You're getting it.
Without getting clapped. I do like that.
That's where my head's at with this field. Because I just don't see any of them being a world champion just yet. Even though, like I said, that is the original intention of the Money in the Bank match. But let me pull up a few comments before we talk about it a little bit more. Tino said, I'm happy with the 6 guys. We finally get a first-time winner. Yes, that is a good plus from this. Robbie Collins' Money in the Bank match is going to be a banger. Butch winning in a UK crowd would be cool, but it's obviously going to be, LA Knight. Speaking of Butch, I was going to ask you this. Butch is my answer to this question. Who would you say has the least chance of winning Money in the Bank?
Santos Escobar is my least favorite.
I think he's got some juice behind him with the LWO. Butch really hasn't been put in a singles.
Butch has home field advantage, and they let Otis win once. So that's just my appeal over Santos. If it was Backlash in Puerto Rico, I might say Santos, I might flip it. I just think it's the home field advantage. So he's gonna get some good spots.
Yeah, for sure. I see that point. Shinsuke would be my number 3, by the way, just because he's been put in main events before. And if you give him a briefcase, it is going to be weird, like you said, but he would probably be my number 3 out of the field we got right now. Tino's made up an interesting comment here. He said, I hope whoever wins brings in a custom briefcase, and Kine went off of that. And he said the briefcase would be like a Joker's everywhere, but just, I don't think I'm following that one.
So the Joker design, like if you got a Joker poster, it would just say ha ha everywhere behind him. But
gotcha.
His would just say yeah, like all over the place. Maybe like a Louis Vuitton print, but it's just over and over, different shapes and sizes. That'd be funny.
Tino, what did we say? We said keep it PG. He said I'd love bitch to win, but probably not.
Are you serious right now?
And now he's blaming autocorrect like he didn't intentionally put bitch on there. Unbelievable, Tino.
Wow.
Figure it out, man.
And that's the kind of below the belt stuff we're talking about. You know what I mean?
Keep it in the ropes. Come on. Robbie said, unless you change Butch into Pete Dunne before the match with his music and stuff, then give it to him. If they did that, then he's not my last place. But as it stands, you're not going to give Butch. Hey, Tino's lying again. Tino said, I didn't mean to do that.
That's what someone who meant to do that would say.
Classic Tino, just putting bitch in our chat, even though we verbally said it at least 20 times during this.
We're getting over. You're not getting it over on us. That's come on, Tino.
Not how you're going to win the MVM. Just saying, Tino. But one last thing I want to talk about. We're going to move over to AEW. I feel like we should probably talk about AEW at least a little bit this week because there is some exciting things happening in All Elite Wrestling, and it's a big week with the debut episode of AEW Collision this Saturday live from the United Center in Chicago. And, of course, we have the Forbidden Door pay-per-view happening June 25th. I believe that is happening in Toronto, Canada. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Chat.
Scotiabank Arena, baby.
So I was right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
7 p.m. Eastern.
So Collision Tuck, as we know, is going to be a 2-hour show. Seems like the rosters are sort of going to be divided into 2 different brands now because of it. But the big draw, the obvious draw here is the return of CM Punk. And obviously we know what happened, the brawl out at All Out, the injury passed. This second time around, how excited are you, 1 through 10, for the return of CM Punk this Saturday?
4.
That low.
Like I'm not hyped. Like I'm not a CM Punk guy.
You've never been a CM Punk guy.
No. So I don't have the grip and pull from WWE that a lot of people do. So it's not gonna make or break the show for me, which is I think that's a positive.
Will you be tuning in live to watch Collision this week, or you got the marathon stuff
going
on, right?
You might make it in the morning. I think I'll be available. Yeah.
I mean, you got a good match there. The main event is Bullet Club Gold with Samoa Joe taking on FTR and CM Punk. But you got to assume with this 2-hour show, that CM Punk is probably going to get on the stick. I think he has to cut a promo. But the question for me is, does he lean into, the Chicago audience, who is going to be very receptive of CM Punk, and give him a warm welcoming and just be that baby face? Or is it best for Punk to sort of embrace the heel turn that the crowd has we've been noticing when CM Punk is like mentioned on Dynamite, crowd boos. Like there's a fair share of boos. Would you like to see Punk come back as a heel or a face?
Probably as a heel, honestly, for me personally. What about you?
Yeah. I think it's got to be a heel after all that went down. Like Chicago's going to give him a positive reaction no matter what. And after that, that's when he can, lean into the heel side of things. But I mean, him with FTR makes sense. They got, a real life friendship going on. So it's going to be a good match. Collision as a whole, I feel like it wasn't, I think we sort of talked about it on past episodes. It wasn't needed. I don't think we needed any more wrestling, especially from AEW. But I mean, I'm sure it'll be a decent show. But let's turn to the chat here real quick. I'm not going to pull up Robbie Collins chanting Jungle Hook again. You're all out of Jungle Hooks, Robbie. Ryan Matthews says, "What's up, guys? Can't wait to go to the Collision debut. That card looks insane." Ryan Matthews going to Collision. Okay. Ryan, if you got any other matches that have been announced for Collision, put those in the chat, because I don't even think I remember what the other matches were going to be. Tuck, do you remember the other matches?
Not off the top of my head. I was pulling up Collision ticket sale numbers. Not great.
So I've been looking at Collision tickets because I was just curious how they were comparing to the tickets that I have for Dynamite. There still is a fair share of 300 level seats. And granted, 300 level, it's the upper deck at the United Center, but it ain't hitting the same as it did when they didn't officially announce CM Punk was returning, but he showed up on Rampage to kick off the show. It's just not.
So this was a couple days ago. The United Center shows at 8.5, so it's probably around 9,000. When they go to Toronto the next week, 1,870. When they go to Hamilton, Ontario, 883 tickets sold total. 1,300, 3,500, 4,400, 1,826. So, like,
those aren't great numbers.
No, the United Center show, great, killing it. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I just
We'll
think
see how it goes.
Saturday's
well,
tough.
And again, Saturday's going to be a good show. Does it boost numbers down the road, right? Or how many people are waiting to see? I think that's a thing too.
You're going to have to hook them on Saturday. That's for damn sure, because it's your very first show. You got to have some good matches and some good, big, maybe heel turns, face turns happening. Just get people invested in the stories that you're going to be telling on Collision. And I hope Miro is going to be on the show on Saturday, because that's a guy I have definitely missed on television. Robbie said, "I'm just excited to hear Cult of Personality again, to be honest." I am too. And I agree with Tino's number here. Tino, another guy from the Chicago area. He said, I'm at like a 7. I love CM Punk. I just want to see how the show flows. And I don't get why people wouldn't want CM Punk to come back. Like people are going to tune in. Good stuff's going to come out of this.
I agree.
Kind said, "I agree with what Seth said about him. I won't repeat it though." Yeah, I think he had a shoot interview about that. Robbie has confirmed that Miro will be back, so that is quite cool. I'm excited to see that. And let's go off of what Ryan Matthews is saying here. He said that AEW show last night was nuts. Did you watch Dynamite yesterday?
Yes, sir.
You agree with that comment then? Did you think it was a good one?
Yeah, I thought it was a good show. nuts.
Yeah,
I don't think I don't know that I would call it nuts, but it was good. It was really good.
I thought it was a strong show. I wouldn't. Yeah, nuts is
Oh,
not
yeah.
the word I would use, but I think it was probably like a 8.75 out of 10. Just really good stuff from top to bottom, and it goes to the very first match. You know, that eliminator match with Adam Cole and MJF. I think a lot of times there's a lot of outside interference, ref bumps that happen in AEW. But I think there was reasonings behind this, and that finish was a very unique one, because how many times do we see the time limit actually come into play in AEW? Not often.
Yeah. Well, and they made you remember it and gives you a way to extend the feud. I thought it was interesting. And Remsburg did a hell of a job selling.
That he did. So here's the card here for AEW Collision. Ryan Matthews found it for us, so we appreciate that.
Thank you, Ryan.
Punk and FTR versus Samoa Joe and the Bullet Club Gold, obviously. Wardlow versus Luchasaurus for the TNT title. Miro versus TBA. Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale versus Tony Storm and Ruby Soho. And Buddy Matthews versus Andrade. Ooh, man, that one's gonna be fun. Robbie asked, did someone say Hook? Yeah. Did you see the Hook news today?
What?
WWE's interested in Hook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I forgot.
Don't you feel like he'd be a better fit in WWE?
Wouldn't everybody? I feel like, I don't know.
Not
everybody. But,
let's not go that far.
But, I mean, a lot of people would. I'm interested to see how he'd get packaged, though. Like, I like AEW Hook.
Yeah, but what has AEW Hook done? I mean, like, he's been on TV for what, 2 years now? I feel like at least in WWE, you could put him maybe in NXT for 6 months. He's going to appeal to that Gen Z crowd. You know, he's a very young dude. Taz was in WWE. That's his son. I think Taz has gone on record saying that he wants Hook to wrestle in WWE one day. I think it'd be a match made in heaven. But
I mean, that's not a huge derogatory statement. It's freaking WWE. Taz respects it. That's how he got made, right?
Yep.
You
know. Tino said, I looked at tickets too. I just couldn't. And I've said it a bunch of times. I don't know how Saturday will work, especially in the summer. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people just got stuff going on Saturday nights, especially in the summer.
Collision's gonna turn into like the Sunday morning vibey chill. Let me watch this as I kind of get into my relax. Yeah,
for sure. And going off again with AEW Dynamite, I think they told a lot of stories this week, built some matches for multiple shows. And that's a tough ask to do, even for a company like WWE to accomplish that much, because you had the Adam Cole MJF stuff, you're building up the Forbidden Door card, and you're also hyping up a debut episode on Saturday. And I think that's probably why Ryan Matthews said it was nuts, just because there was so much going down.
Yeah, and I loved the Forbidden Door builds that we got throughout the show, whether it was promos and stuff like that, made me more interested in the card. And now, like, I went to a New Japan show. I watched the Mercedes Moné debut. Like, I have a little bit more sense of who these guys are. Not perfect by any means, and I don't know all the lineages and things, but like, I'm seeing names. Oh, I've seen that person. Okay, I'm familiar. Okay, I'm starting to like picture what some of the matches could be, and I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, me too. I'm not going to pull up Robbie's comment. Every time he says Jungle Hook, you're not getting your comment pulled up, Robbie. Just say it. You're done.
He's trying to game the system. Yeah,
he's trying to get me to cut another heel promo. That's what he's really trying to do. Ryan Matthews said,
quick question: Are you getting AEW Fight Forever, the video game?
Yeah, just to try it out, but I don't think I'm going to like it.
I am too.
I don't think I'm going to like it. I'm more of like a serious gameplay kind of guy, and this seems very
simulation.
Arcadey. Yeah, I just got to have it, you know. We're marks. You got to give it. It's the first video game in AEW history. Ryan Matthews says, I somehow got my girlfriend fascinated with wrestling. She's more of a WWE gal, aren't we all? But she's ecstatic about seeing Punk for the first time after I've hyped him up for so long. She'll be with me Saturday. That's awesome. I like to hear stuff like that, Ryan. Thanks for sharing. Kai made a good comment. Yeah, we need to tag OTM on Twitter if you're going to Collision, aka Ryan Matthews. Send us a picture, please. Kind said Hook could be the NXT champion. Look at everybody's fantasy booking now. Hook versus Wesley. Look at that.
Go off, King. Yes.
Tino also said Sunday wrestling. I'm all for it. And you got pay-per-views, right?
Yeah. There's that. Again, give me those Saturday, pepper in those Saturday afternoon brunch shows, bottomless mimosas, Seth Rollins winning a title. Come on now, let's have a weekend.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good coming weekends here. The next 2 weekends, you got Forbidden Door coming up, Money in the Bank, and then I guess this one's a good weekend too. If you're going to be tuning in live to watch AEW Collision, I will not, because like I said earlier, I got my party going down for my 30th. Unfortunately, I'm turning the big 3-0. But yeah, I'll have to watch that Sunday morning. Actually, probably Sunday night because it's Father's Day the next day and my birthday on Sunday. So I guess I got to be social, right? I got to do something.
Yeah.
I'm not really looking forward to sharing a birthday with Father's Day. I want to just have my dad have his own Father's Day because he's a far better person than I am. Putting that on the record. Wow. Ryan said, I got you. The white OTM hoodie might make another appearance. It's going to be hot out.
Well, maybe he takes it in case, his gal gets chilly,
That's smart. Tucker, I like it. Let's start drinking. There you go. Tino's in for a couple beers. What?
Got a half day tomorrow. Last day of school. Got a half day tomorrow. Might have a beer by noon.
Hell yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
Tino. He said, happy early birthday, bro. It's that time, though, the end of the show where we have to give out the MVM of OTM. If you don't know what that is, the most valuable mark, the person that gave us the most quality comments, frequent commenter, and just been along for the ride. What did you say? Tough here, Tuck?
It's tough. It's a good job, but it's not always easy. I'm going to tell you that.
And Robbie, good call here. He said that white OTM hoodie is perfect for all weather, to be fair, at the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.com. Robbie Collins, of course, got himself a white OTM hoodie as well. But back to the MVM. Robbie talked about it earlier, Tuck. He said this man showed up one time live. One time. And he won the MVM.
Yep.
It is his second time tuning in tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, just like Carmelo Hayes, kind don't miss. For the second time tuning in live, the MVM of OTM, KYNE, it is Kind.
There he is. I had no idea where the soundboard was the last hour and 7 minutes, and I found it right at the last second. Got very, very excited for that. Kind, what a guy. Congratulations. Send dude, I have to do a better job of like procuring addresses for those in the US. Haven't sent a decal out in a little bit. I feel better that I got that off my chest. So we got to remind
Tino's in the
people
US. He's in Chi-Town, so you could definitely pull that one off because he won a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Tino, send that address to On the Mark's Twitter, and I'll get you one or two. Sorry.
That's right. And I believe
I'm going to throw in some random wrestling cards too, probably.
Look at you.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
I like that. I believe Kind's across the pond too. I think he is a friend of Robbie Collins, and he actually might be in our Discord. And he's made his statement. He said, "Yes, let's go. Thank you very much. You earned it, sir. It was a tight race. A lot of people joining us. He is a man of England, though. Okay,
so he messed that up. A great man of England is what he meant to say.
That is what he meant to say. That we do. But yeah, speaking of the Discord, if you want to chat with us during shows, just on the weekend, talk about anything, but mainly wrestling, slide in our DMs or search our social media accounts to find a link, or you can just ask one of us to invite you to the Discord. We're always chatting in there, right, Tuck? Always something to talk about.
Yeah, and it's like I think I packaged it pretty well last week when I said it's for those conversations and thoughts you have about wrestling, but maybe you don't feel like tweeting it out for everybody, right? We've got a cool little community. Talk about, like, the other night we were talking about like build your commentary booth, just kind of random quirky stuff. And then, people have chats and discussions. The comment section over here, 24/7. Let her roll.
And like this, Robbie Collins literally just put that in our Discord. It's a picture of Dom Mysterio. So you could do that too if you want. I think he's just trying to get me going again.
Or don't do that.
Or don't do that. But hey, join the Discord. It's a good time. But Tucky, why don't you send us home here for episode 149.
149, episode 150 next week. Didn't know that. Wow.
Big milestone.
Let's get hammered. Visit the TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at Pot on the Mark. Okay, all three of those at Pot on the Mark. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. We'll tell you every time we're going live. You know these things. Visit the onthemarkwrestlingpodcast.com for all your merchandise needs. And remember, we got some bills to pay. Every penny counts. We really appreciate it. Until next week, episode 150, that will be the Forbidden Door preview, right?
Yes, correct.
The week after will be the Money in the Bank preview.
Money, 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 money.
In the middle of a 12-hour race for that Money in the Bank show. Gonna have to watch that probably after. So we'll see. Gonna be a long day at the yard. But Eugene, Oregon sounds cool. Can't wait to be there. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 150 coming at you next week. Thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling
Podcast.